You're walking through tall grass 100,000 years ago. The sun is setting. You hear something move behind you, turn around, and see two yellow eyes reflecting the last bit of daylight. A cave lion, twice the size of any lion alive today, is looking directly at you. For millions of years, this was the foundational reality of the human experience. We weren't the hunters. We were exclusively the prey, targeted by apex killers that had spent eons evolving to hunt large mammals. In 1924, archaeologists in South Africa discovered the skull of a 3-year-old child, an early human ancestor. Look at the eye sockets. Those two perfectly spaced circular holes match the canine teeth of a leopard exactly. This child was prey. Human evolution didn't begin at the top of the food chain. We started near the bottom, actively fighting off extinction every single day. The saber-toothed cat, Smilodon fatalis, was a 600-pound ambush predator. Its 11-inch canines were designed for one specific task: a single explosive strike to the throat that could puncture the windpipe of a bison or a camel in seconds. North America was home to the short-faced bear, a hypercarnivore that stood 12 feet tall. Unlike modern bears that forage for berries, this predator was a specialized meat eater with long legs built for endurance running at 40 miles per hour. Then there were the cave hyenas. They hunted in packs of 20 or more with a bite force of 1,100 pounds per square inch, strong enough to crush through solid bone to reach the marrow. They hunted at night, when early humans were effectively blind. Contrast those specialized killers with our own biological metrics. We were slower and weaker than chimpanzees. We had flat teeth, useless nails, and an upright posture that made us visible for miles. Our infants were helpless and couldn't even walk for a year. By every measurable physical standard, these severe deficits should have guaranteed our extinction within 100,000 years. We survived by hacking our environment, starting with fire. A campfire creates a 30-foot psychological safety zone that predators are hardwired to avoid. It solved our night vision deficit by turning the darkness into a protected sanctuary. Cooking meat with fire makes it more calorie-dense and easier to digest. This surge in energy directly fueled the growth of larger, more complex brains, while the fire's light granted our ancestors 3 or 4 extra hours every night to craft tools, communicate, and plan. We then weaponized our endurance through persistence hunting. Instead of trying to outsprint a saber-tooth, we tracked animals at a steady jog for 6 hours or more, never letting them rest. Look at the human line on this chart. Our sweat glands let us dissipate heat while moving, keeping our core temperature stable. A predator has to stop to pant. By keeping the animal moving, we force its temperature to spike until it collapses from heat stroke. We applied this same pattern recognition to the predators themselves. We learned their hunting schedules, their water sources, and their territorial boundaries. We observed, remembered, and taught the next generation how to avoid the ambush before it happened. Because we couldn't outmuscle these killers, we used fire and observation to dictate the terms of engagement, turning the landscape itself into a weapon. Our ultimate advantage wasn't a physical tool, but empathy. This 1.8 million-year-old jawbone belonged to an elder who lost all their teeth years before death. Notice how the bone is smoothed and empty. A toothless lion dies, but this human survived because their group was chewing or softening food for them. This act of uninstinctive care is something no other apex predator performs, and it turned the group into a single, resilient unit. We see this again with the Shanidar Neanderthal, who lived to age 40 despite being blind in one eye and having a withered arm. The group valued his survival, even though he couldn't hunt or fight. This deep cooperation enabled us to move from instinctive pack hunting to strategic warfare. We used language to coordinate roles, driving predators toward traps and using aerodynamic throwing spears to kill from 30 feet away. 5 humans with a plan and ranged weapons could neutralize a saber-tooth before it ever got within striking distance. We had flipped the prehistoric power dynamic. Around 50,000 years ago, humans began migrating out of Africa, expanding into Europe, Asia, and the Americas. The correlation is undeniable. Everywhere we arrived, mega-predators vanished. Cave lions disappeared 14,000 years ago, the short-faced bear 11,000 years ago, and the saber-toothed cat 10,000 years ago. Within a few thousand years of our arrival on any continent, The massive species that dominated Earth for millions of years were completely eradicated. Specialized predators are victims of their own success. If their one advantage, speed, strength, or venom, is neutralized, they have no backup plan. Humans chose the strategy of infinite adaptability. We couldn't outrun the bear, so we invented the spear. We couldn't outbite the hyena, so we worked in groups. Our physical weaknesses forced 1,000 generations to invent and teach complex solutions, rather than waiting for biology to give us sharper claws. We survived the deadliest era on Earth by turning the exact vulnerabilities that made us prey into the collaborative intelligence that made us masters of the planet.